example. Here's the APQC process classification framework. It starts from 5 top, which is called the operating categories. It says develop vision and strategy, design and develop products and services, market and sell, deliver products and services, manage customer services. This is the core business of any organization. What are the support businesses? Develop and manage human capital, manage information technology, manage financial resources, acquire, construct and manage property, manage environmental health and safety, manage external relationship, and manage knowledge improvement and change. So this is the APQC framework. By the way, our general process framework, for example, is based on the APQC. So we take part by part and we develop our processes based on this APQC process framework. Let's take an example of managed customer services, for example. Managed customer services gives us sub-clause. If anybody is familiar with ISO, it's almost the same thing. 5.1 says develop customer care, customer service strategy. So what's your process for doing that? What's your process for plan and manage customer service operation? What's your process for measure and evaluate customer service operation? Takes you further deeper. So let's say, for example, develop customer care, customer service strategy. What you need, what's your process for develop customer service segmentation and prioritization, define customer service policies and procedures, and establish service level for customers. If you go to develop customer service segmentation, prioritization, it gives you another way saying what's your process for analyzing existing customers and what's your process for analyzing feedback of customers' needs. So you can see it takes you very from high level to really deep into the organization. Okay, I need to go faster. If anybody would like to have a look to the APQC framework is available for free download on this website, on their website. And it looks like this. It's a document. If I look at the business value matrix has been developed by Harvard Business Review in 1987. It says simply, you need to put your processes in one area, put your strategic objectives, and we give a score here, it's either 3, 6, or 9. That's give you something called business value. You put then your customer complaints, as much as less you can, you get more score, so it's between 1 to 5. And then about the performance, how much of the KPIs has been achieved. And as much as you achieve, you get better, and you get something called performance rating. Let me show you a solid example. What we have done is that, if you can put your processes in, that's a good thing. But if organization cannot put their processes, what we have done is that we included the APQC process framework into this value matrix. That's what we have done. So it became easier for people to identify where they are. We have the CEO of the organization working with us in this developing. You take each of the steps, each of the processes, and see how much it is related to the strategic objective of the organization. It's either 3, 6, or 9. That gives you a business value. We put about customer complaints, performance, and this gives us something called performance rating. And then we have the average. At the down there, you can see average that we got for this business value and average of performance rating. What you are looking is a process that has high business value and low performance rating. From my point, high business value, above the average, but low performance rating. An example here, as I said, this is the average, is managed customer service, for example. This company has a business value of 30 for managing customer service, and their performance rating is 6. Next one is managed financial services. The business value is 21, the performance rating is 6. So these are the focus areas which we need to work on as benchmarking. You either need to prioritize your things on managing customer service and then manage financial services. We go deeper to the sub-process, doing the same thing with the sub-process, which I need to move away to. Here the area you need to focus your benchmarking also, measuring customer satisfaction with customer request inquiry standards. So how do you do that? This is the routine for our organization. Measure customer satisfaction, customer complaint handling and resolution, and measure customer satisfaction with provided services. The third method we use, which very quickly, is the AFKM self-assessment tool. The self-assessment tool is an Excel-based tool where we put questions on one hand, what evidences we are looking from the organization, and the organization rank themselves from 1 to 4 based on a traffic light system. At the end, you get something like this one. This is, for example, we did it for a strategy with them. So they get the overall score, they get the individual score and the team score. And then it is divided into some criteria of the EFKM model. And as you can see, 2A was a problem with it. Strategy is based on the strategy needs and expectation of both stakeholders and external environment. And we use several methods to facilitate this. In conclusion, I would say business excellence professionals need to provide opportunity for senior management to identify the gaps. The only problem, we give them the gaps and remediate them in most of the cases. It's much professional to allow them to identify these gaps. These self-assessment tools help them in identifying the gaps and they say, yes, I put these scores and I know that these gaps happens with me. Visualization helps senior management identifying their gaps, individualize in some way or another for them. The AFPM feedback report, despite all my respect to them, is very solid, it's very dry. You need to make it in some way that graphically present to them a problem, numerically represent the problem, where they all agree saying, yes, we agree, this is a problem area for us. And finally, appropriate planning for benchmarking includes identifying and prioritizing gaps, help maximizing the outcome of the benefits. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now I would like to invite to join us the previous speaker, Suresh, Ibrahim and Aref, please to join us on stage to start the panel discussion. Yeah, we have a chair. Just an announcement to remind you that this afternoon we'll give the GBA Annual Best Paper Award, and that's going to happen after lunch. We'll after the roundtable. Thank you. Okay. Well, since this morning, like 9 o'clock, when Suresh began the presentation, we've been listening to 5 of great, interesting point of view, benchmarking and applying the Business Excellence framework. And now we would like to start a panel discussion with questions for the public for attendancy. I would appreciate if any of you have a question related with the presentation previous with Ali, Ibrahim, Suresh, Ashmed, and any question, please, the mic. I will see you. Right over there, we have a question. Can somebody help me with the mic, please? Okay, we have a question over there. I think we will be using the mic. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, we will have a mic.
You want me to
I
ask?
think Basman's going to get
You want me to
one.
ask a question in a loud voice?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me? It's for Arif. Hello. Can you just try and tell me, in terms of Lean and Six Sigma, I know you've got Lean Six Sigma, but in terms of things that you apply in Lean as opposed to Six Sigma, if there is that sort of distinction, in my mind there might be. You talked about the return that came from that. Is it on? Yeah. You talked about the return that came from that, and I wondered how it split down, because over the years I've seen lots of people go off and do Six Sigma training, and quite a lot of those people that I've spoken to when they've come back have said that although they've learned Six Sigma, quite a lot of their time they spend doing Lean. And I just wondered, in your organisation, as you do so much of this, if you could just sort of tell us how that's breaking down in terms of amount of effort on Lean or Six Sigma, and then you talked about the amount of money saved and what that looks like. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. There is a distinction between Lean and Six Sigma. You're absolutely right. And in my opinion, I know I've met people that disagree with me. I think Lean comes first. Lean is a methodology that looks at what you do and simply take the waste out. Whether it's a waste of waiting waste, whether it's a transactional waste, whether it's cost, whether it's time. It's simply looking at what you do and how you can do it better. Six Sigma a little different, but it is about also improving. The danger is that you might be applying a Six Sigma project on a step that is not really adding value to the customer. So what you need to do, and that's where the marriage of the two methodology comes in. I mean, we think it's a big waste doing Six Sigma without leading out your process first. We teach our green belts and black belts to look at the process first, make sure that the steps that you are working on really add value to the end user of that process, to the customer of that process, and then you can start your improvements. Otherwise, you could be wasting your time. I have seen projects where they simply jump in and try to improve a measure, and it doesn't really translate to anything that is felt by the customer. The money that we have saved is, like Sturridge in his presentation said, mainly quality is about doing better, faster, and cheaper. And all the money that we're claiming, the Lean Six Sigma initiative in PIC, the $30 million, it is mainly cost of doing our processes. It's reduction of shutdown time. It's reduction of actual cost we're paying for inputs that we're bringing in, catalysts and steam and other inputs that we use in our process. But you are absolutely right, and I think we should try to lean out our processes first, use our common sense, making sure that all our improvements really addresses the main factor that is important to our customer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a question from Brian back.
I'm with my intervention. I'd like to thank you first of all for all this great presentation and all this very good information. I think we heard a lot of positive things about success stories. We'd like to hear some part about the challenges that you have faced in implementing Six Sigma, implementing benchmarking, and Ibrahim with his study, and Suresh with about innovation, Ahmad about research. We need to get what were the challenges that you faced, and definitely you talked about the success. So because each of us need this in our daily work. Thank you.
Thank you. How about you answer the question in about 2 minutes, please? Yeah.
Let me use this mic. I'll start with some challenges we are facing in organizing benchmarking activities, for example, under the benchmarking subgroup, is that to change the mentality of the people saying that we are not spying on your processes, we are not going to go to the field that you really don't want people to go. The question is not open for people to discuss whatever question they would like. You will not be in an embarrassing situation or something like this one. I think this is the challenge, very important, to change the mentality of the benchmark. Benchmark is identifying what you are doing good. And I think from my experience, if you really focus on what they are doing good and trying to highlight what they are doing good, in most cases people will participate with you. Will say, yes, we would like to host people, and we're happy they come to. Because everybody would like to share success stories. Everybody would like to share where they are starting. But you have to make sure that, as a facilitator, that the area where the host company doesn't want to get the people in, or they don't want to highlight areas due to any certain reasons, that this keeps confidential and aside this placement. I think this is the challenge we're facing in organizing benchmarking.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
One of the challenges I had with my study was